Hello guys, welcome back to Chaotic and Witchy. I'm so happy to have you here with me again today. I have a very fun pick a card for you. We're going to be looking at what's coming your way over the next 6 months. And I decided to change the setup a little bit to fit the upcoming autumnal spooky season. I don't think it's ever too early to get spooky and spicy and Halloweeny, so I hope you like it. So meditate on a pile, make your selection, and I will see you in just a little bit. Hello and welcome to your reading pile 1. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm going to dive right into it. So the first thing I'm drawn to here is this beautiful Two of Cups card. And what this cup represents in this particular deck is the union between two very different people. I don't want to say mismatched, but definitely almost opposing identities, almost opposing viewpoints coming together in this very powerful, strong soulmate connection. So for some of you, the Two of Cups can very much represent what it ordinarily represents, which is a very strong soulmate connection on the horizon for you. But the other thing that I'm sensing even more strongly is I feel like this card represents uniting two diametrically opposing facets of yourself. And I get my clues from the other cards in this spread, specifically this Queen of Wands card, which is a very confident, explosive, powerful energy. She is incredibly powerful, unstoppable, and she is just going after what she wants. She's unafraid. There's no obstacles in her way. In fact, she is standing in front of an erupting volcano. Like, there is nothing that can stop her or cause her to fear or tremble. Like, she is a powerful force. And what I am sensing is that I feel like there's a very big part of you that wants to have and carry this confidence, this power, this assertiveness, this boldness. But there's also quite a lot of conditioning in your life that has made you think that you cannot embody that Queen of Wands energy, or you cannot quite fully transform into that Queen of Wands energy. And I get the sense that this comes from a lot of negativity and criticism from the people in your life. Specifically, I believe some of you may have family members who are very critical, or you grew up in a very critical, conservative, single-minded kind of state that has really imprinted upon you the value of monetary, financial success, or other forms of success instead of like that self-empowerment. Instead of building yourself up, I think the focus has been, you know, making sure that you are successful, you're stable, because I have this King of Coins card. And on this King of Coins card, you can see that, well, number one, the King of Coins or the King of Pentacles is a very stable, dependable, earthly energy. This is somebody who is reliable, resourceful, dependable, and very much like this image represents, carries the world on their back and does so easily. And in order to achieve a greater purpose, in order to work for the greater good or some other greater objective. But one of the other things that I sense with this card is that the king can represent a male figure in your life. And seeing the King of Coins paired with the Hierophant, which is also present here, makes me think that some of you have a male figure, perhaps a father or a grandfather, an uncle, a brother, that has a very set conservative way of thinking that may be very critical on you, and that this has caused you to very much carry these burdens and internalize all of this weight within you, because you have the Ten of Wands here as well. And one of the things that's coming for you over the next 6 months is that there's going to be a great deal of healing, because I see you moving towards that Queen of Wands energy. You're going to start to blossom into a very confident and powerful version of yourself. And you're going to start unburdening yourself from old ways of thinking with this Hierophant card. Or alternatively, well, not either or, both can occur at once, but one of the things I'm seeing is if you do have a tumultuous relationship with a male figure in your life, you're going to start a progress towards reconciliation, or starting to fuse those two opposing forces, yourselves and them. You're going to start seeing things that are more common instead of disjunctive. And what's going to occur is a great deal of healing with that 10 of Pentacles card, especially this imagery of this young woman or man coming to see this older individual, which could represent the male figure in your life, and a bit of reconciliation. Now, that does not mean that if somebody is toxic and cruel and you're distancing yourself from them because of pain and suffering that they have caused you, that you should reconcile with them. Perhaps this healing is going to happen within yourself, and you're going to learn to depart and walk away from those painful thoughts and feelings, from these burdens that they have created internally, and start to create more of, I suppose, you're going to start to view yourself better, but also create an environment within yourself that is more susceptible to embracing your own strengths, your own values, and your own inherent talents and skills, and the things that you know to be true and valuable that may not be valued by the people around you, by the domineering. I mean, with the king and the Hierophant, I am thinking that this may be a male figure. It doesn't necessarily have to be, but with that imagery on the King of Coins card, I get the sense that it is someone who is a little bit parental because of how they're carrying the world on their back. But like I said, this doesn't mean that you have to embrace them and bring them into your life again if they don't deserve to be there. The healing could happen internally, and you're going to start to go through a process where you come to terms that all of the conditioning that you have been through, all of the negativity, all of the harsh words, anything that may have been said or done in order to make you think of life as this one-dimensional experience, that's going to start to fall away in the next 6 months, and you're going to really step into your own power. You're going to start to embrace that explosive, potent, powerful Queen of Wands energy. So now I want to look at the Oracle cards I have for you as well. Now this card, the never-ending story, really cements for me everything that I have been saying. Now this card is all about the dramas and the voices and the criticisms that go on inside our own minds that very much do not have an air of reality. They're just things that we keep repeating in our heads. They're just narratives that we've been told or that we tell ourselves that cycle throughout us and really bring us down and are meant to really create a dynamic of negativity and drama that does not need to exist, that does not need to be there. Now, what this card represents is that you're going to start shaking that off. You're going to start moving away from that negativity. You're going to start embracing things for what they really are. And the reality is that you have everything within yourself, everything within your skill set, within your talents that is meant to represent Queen of Wands. You're meant to be confident, powerful, energetic, exciting, and very much creative, because the Queen of Wands is creative, and she is someone who does things because she wants to embrace herself, her power, and that is what I'm seeing for you. So if there are burdens in your life, if there is negative self-talk and painful criticism, you're going to start moving away from that and shaking off those narratives. So perhaps there may be a moment in your life where you're going to start seeking counseling or just working through your pain in a creative way with that Queen of Wands energy. So it's very likely that some of you are going to pick up some new hobbies. You're going to find a channel to express yourself. You're going to find a means to really start embracing all of the things that have been stifled, all of the things that you've been told are not worth your time, that are not, that you may not be good at, all of the negative things that you've heard repeated. You're now going to start moving away from that and towards something much more positive and much more energizing, and it's going to be much closer to your authentic self. The other thing that I see for you, pile one, with these Oracle cards is you're going to have a very lovely, supportive friend group around you at all times. These two cards came out. There are 2 other people or 3 other people, depending. So you may have 2 very good friends, you may have 3 very good friends, and you're going to find a lot of time and to spend with them, to connect with them. And likely this is going to be part of your healing process. You're going to find a group of people who are going to be uplifting, who are going to make you feel wonderful, who are going to really encourage you on this journey and very much stimulate parts of yourselves that have been suppressed, that have been really bogged down by negative thinking, criticisms, or just painful experiences with people that you look to for support and love, because it does seem to me that that may be lacking. And also with sort of this mermaid energy, with the fact that there's almost this very witchy energy about them, I feel like one of the ways you're going to start healing is by embracing your spiritual side, by embracing your fantastical side, your dream-like side, the side that is so beautifully creative. And I feel like you really are going to have a wonderful 6 months up ahead, because you're going to find peace, you're going to find love, you're going to find community, you're going to strengthen friendships and relationships, but you're also going to feel like you can shake away these conservative viewpoints represented by the Hierophant and explore the fantastical and explore the things that may not be the norm, that might be unusual, that might be more spiritual, in a community of people who make you feel safe and let you do that and experience that and explore that safely with love and encouragement. So that's what I'm seeing for you as well. And to wrap all of this up, I have another mermaid card, and coincidentally from a completely different Oracle deck that says go with the flow. And that is what I really see you doing, because if you have been burdened and you've been carrying a heavy weight, it's impossible to go with the flow. It's impossible to really move through life freely and effortlessly and with joy when you are carrying inside of yourself the burdens imposed upon you by others, negative self-criticism, any kind of painful thoughts, and thoughts that are really not great because they don't do anything at the end of the day. All the negativity that we carry out inside of ourselves just slow us down. They keep us from really becoming and growing into the people that we're meant to be. And I'm starting to see that over the next 6 months, you're really going to start to be a little bit more unburdened, lighter, happier, joyous. Like I said, there's a lot of this wonderful, happy energy there is. Don't be afraid to say and surround yourself with love. I find that I really get the sense that you're going to have a lot of laughter and joy and community, and you're going to feel a lot lighter because you have been carrying a lot on your back. You have been carrying literally with the 10 of Wands, and I do think that you're going to start to become a little bit lighter, a little bit more joyous, and you're going to have a much better go of it. You're going to feel a lot better. And that's going to be because of a number of things. You're going to, number one, grow into your own skin, embrace your own power, your own energy, the things that make you uniquely you, that make you happy and creative. So I do think that some of you are going to pick up new hobbies. You're going to start new endeavors. You're going to take a first step in something that you've been afraid to do. Perhaps you've been told that you're not good at something. If it's art, and you've been told that your art is subpar or not a good way of making money, you're going to start diving into those areas and really thriving. But also, I see a tremendous amount of support with these two cards. I think you have a lovely group of friends. And if you don't, you're about to meet a lot of friends. So if you're about to endeavor into a creative field, put your work out there, start, a social media page where you display your creativity, your writing, your art, your music, people are going to start coming into your life, and you're going to form a very loving, supportive community along the way. So that is what I'm seeing for you, Pile 1. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I would love to know if this reading resonated with you. I would love if you could subscribe and like, and I hope to see you again very soon. Hello pile 2 and welcome to your reading. I'm going to dive right into it. So pile 2, one of the things that draws my attention right away is this gorgeous High Priestess card. And the sense that I get from this card is over the next 6 months, you're really going to start tapping into your subconscious. You're going to really begin to receive messages and, you know, through your dreams, through claircognizance, clairvoyance, you're going to really start to experience all of the secrets that the High Priestess holds, because the High Priestess is someone who knows all of the vast magical spiritual secrets, and she keeps them a little bit hidden. They're usually behind the curtain, but here, as you can see, the curtain's opened and you can see all of this beautiful starlit sky and the moon in the center. And the moon usually represents the things that are even further hidden from us. So the moon card of the tarot represents sort of shrouded mysticism and secrecy and things not being what they seem. But I feel like with this High Priestess card, especially when the curtains are drawn wide open as they are in this particular deck, I am sensing that if you're seeking to tap into your spiritual gifts and talents, if you're seeking to really get in touch with your subconscious, that is going to start happening for you over the next 6 months. You're really going to start experiencing a spiritual rejuvenation. You're going to start receiving messages, and you're going to get very much more deeply intuitive and in touch with yourself with this gorgeous card. And one of the other things that I'm seeing for you is that you're putting in an incredible amount of hard work and effort towards something. You have the Seven of Coins here, which represents hard work and dedication and things bearing fruit. But in this particular deck, it also represents sacrifice, really putting in that work and putting aside the things that may be interfering with that work. So if there is an objective or a project that you're working on and you very much want to see it come to fruition, you want to see the fruits of your labor, you're going to have to do a little bit of sacrificing, pile 2. So some of you may be starting on school related projects. Some of you may have begun the new semester. You're going to find yourself having to really put aside the frivolous things, put aside the time-consuming things, the things that stall us and make us procrastinate, and work hard and diligently. And if you're not in school, that doesn't matter. There's something that is going to be manifesting for you over the next 6 months that you're going to very much have to dedicate and diligently focus on in order to see the fruits of your labor. But the Seven of Coins is also a reminder that that's going to happen. And you also have the Three of Wands here, which is, again, you can see her climbing this ladder to the top. So there may be something that you're really working on that requires you to get to the top of the ladder, to really climb to the top. And it could be a very painful and difficult experience, but as you can see her on this card, she is climbing towards the top. She is climbing towards her objective and her goals. It's actually a very beautiful illustration of the Three of Wands. And I am seeing you really putting in that effort and putting in all that you need to do in order to get the results of your labor. But with the Ten of Swords card, I unfortunately do have to warn you that the next 6 months aren't going to be easy. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have pain. You're going to have difficulty and challenge along the way. You're going to feel like you're not going to make it. You're going to feel like there's obstacles in your way. You're going to try, you're going to fail, you're going to receive criticism and feel like you aren't getting anywhere and you're stuck in a standstill because you can't. Things are too difficult. Things are getting too heavy and burdensome. And you might experience some physical sadness, some emotional sadness and defeat as well. But you should not give up. You should continue working. And because really what I'm seeing here with the Ace of Swords and the Page of Wands is, number one, there are incredible new beginnings on the horizon. With that Ace of Swords card, I see a sudden burst of creative energy, a sudden burst of optimism that is going to really help fuel you over the next 6 months. Even where things get challenging, you're also going to experience a lot of satisfactory new beginnings and new chances and new opportunities. So if you're set back, you're going to be given a lot of chances to start over again, to rebuild and keep working and keep climbing that ladder, because you are getting very, very close to your goals, and you're not even, I'm hearing that you're not even aware how close you are to that breakthrough. The Swords card cuts through the clouds. I'm going to bring her back again. Hopefully she can focus a little bit quicker. But the Swords card pierces through the clouds. So pierces through all of that dense energy that blocks our view, that dense energy that really makes us think that things are too difficult, too challenging. We can't see the end of this climb. So if you're going along with the climbing the ladder metaphor, really you cannot seem to see the end of the ladder because it's being blocked by these clouds. You're going to start to see things really changing and manifesting and coming your way quickly, because I do see that you've been putting in a lot of work and a lot of effort to see things through and to bring them to fruition. So that is something that you do need to know. And the other thing, like I mentioned with the High Priestess card, and you have this message almost repeated, is that you are being asked to dive deep into yourself with these two oracle cards. You have the Deep Knowing oracle card and the Dive Deep oracle card. So I do believe that there are going to be moments over the next 6 months that you're going to have to deeply get into your own mind, into your own subconscious, into your own self, in order to pull out and withdraw. I believe that strength to keep going when things get difficult, when things are being represented by that Ten of Swords card, when you want to quit and give up. You may need to take a moment and a step back to rest, to meditate, and to replenish your strength and your energy so that you can keep pushing forward. And you are being asked to dive deep, because if you're feeling like you cannot make it, like your goals are too difficult, too challenging, too hard, that things are getting a little bit too, I suppose, too impossible and too unlikely, and you're being asked to persist, look within yourself, find the energy within yourself, because whatever it is that you need, it is built into you. You have the answers that you need. You have the courage and the strength and the stamina that you need to keep going and working on your goals and working on your achievements. And they are, once again, not that far from reach. So even when things feel difficult, you definitely have the means to get through them, and they're within yourself. You don't have to look outside of yourself. And perhaps the other thing is, whatever project it is that you're working on that might necessarily require you to really look within yourself and withdraw from yourself. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean is that sometimes if you're working on a creative endeavor, if you're working on something that requires you to draw from experience, that is what you're being called to do as well. So if you're creating something in the artistic field, art, music, you're putting a project together, you're working on something, put yourself into it. Dive into yourself. Make it unique and authentic, because you certainly have the characteristics of, you know, of your personality, of what you have, that it's going to make that project even more successful. Because you shouldn't stifle yourself. You should instead bring out the things that are your strengths. So if there are areas that you thrive in and you're finding that you're not succeeding doing it this way or this way, what are you good at? Ask yourself that. What am I good at, and what can I really bring to the table that is going to make this task, this objective, this goal easier? How can I find my own strengths and talents in order to bring them out and be a little bit more, how do I say, a little bit more authentic, and really enforce the parts of yourself that you are already skilled at, already good at, so that you can unburden yourself and make that progress a little bit easier. So dive into yourself, figure out what your strengths are, and start capitalizing on them, because you certainly have them. And again, with the High Priestess asking you to dive into your subconscious, with the Dive Deep and Deep Knowing card, whatever it is that you need to fulfill this project, this goal, this objective, you have. And I think that you're also being called to be authentic, which is also why I believe the curtains on this High Priestess card are drawn wide open. They're not meant to be shrouded. You're not meant to be hidden and eclipsed. And like the moon at the center of the card, you're meant to shine and really use your own skills and talents that you have been gifted with to help make that task easier. And again, and I think these two cards are really a reassurance of that, you have the Flower, Be Honest with Yourself card. And I can see that here she has her hand over her mouth and she's almost kind of like this blushing, really pretty, you know, figure here, but she's covering her mouth. So I think the other thing is, again, I'm sensing that you have had a very hard time being authentic, and you're being called to be authentic, to really embrace yourself and to speak up, and to speak up authentically, and to do things the way that you think they should be done, and to bring in a little bit of yourself here. She's has all of these flowers in her hair, all of this beautiful, natural, just easygoing energy. She looks very, you know, I guess just very, I don't want to say natural, because there's nothing wrong with painting your face, putting on makeup. I think it's incredible. I do it all the time, but I feel like there's something in just your bare self, just the core of yourself, that needs to come through and help ease your burdens and make things a little bit challenging. So if you have been afraid to speak out, afraid to be yourself authentically, whether it's at work, whether it's with this project, whether it's at school, speak out. Use your talents. There's something that you have to bring to the table that nobody else can bring. And over the next 6 months, you're going to really start doing that. And the other thing, pile 2, that I'm going to close off with is that all of this hard work, all of this effort, also remember to slow down and celebrate yourself. And again, this goes back to being authentically yourself. This goes back to really embracing who you are. She's sitting on the throne. She's having this amazing feast of oranges and fruits and wine, and she's celebrating herself. So do not forget to take care of yourself, because especially with this 10 of Swords card, you really have to be careful that in moments where things get difficult and you feel like you cannot persevere and carry on and keep going and things get challenging, like I said, take a step, meditate, go back to yourself, embrace yourself, but really take care of yourself. So if you are concerned about, you know, your weight, your appearance, and you're afraid to do certain things because you feel like you're going to impact yourself, if you're somebody who's putting yourself out online, on Instagram, whatever it may be, and you're a little bit concerned about your appearances, be careful and celebrate yourself, embrace your body, embrace who you are, and ensure that you are also taking time to eat, celebrate, have some wine, unwind, have a good time, and relax. Because if you've been working as hard as you have been, and as hard as you are going to work on over the next 6 months to achieve your goals and objectives, just be careful not to burn out. Just be careful not to get so worn out that you can't keep going. So do make sure that throughout it all, you're taking time to very much spend time on yourself. Eat, rest, sleep, have a drink with your friends, really take time to unwind and to unburden your mind. And because sometimes when we work hard, and I do see a lot of hard work for you, pile 2, we can burn out, and it will just slow us down and make us feel crappy and make us really dive more into this 10 of Swords energy and make us really feel heavy and burdened. So that's what I have for you, pile 2. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. Like, comment, and subscribe if you wish. And once again, have a wonderful day. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile 3. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I'm going to dive right into your reading. There's quite a lot to go through. So I am immediately drawn to this 3 of Swords card. And when I first saw this card, I really wanted to know the story behind it, because I felt like with that imagery, I was so curious to know a little bit more about the story beyond what's in the booklet for the deck. So I looked it up, and what the story is a Japanese folk tale called The Crane Wife. And how the story goes is that there lives a man who is very poor, and one day he finds a crane on his doorstep, and the crane is injured, so he takes the crane home and nurses the crane back to health and releases the crane. And then the next day, a woman emerges on his doorstep, and she's beautiful and she's so captivating, and he falls in love with her. And over time, she starts to weave these beautiful garments and materials out of this incredible fabric, this silk. and he starts to sell that fabric, those materials, and becomes wealthier and wealthier. And she becomes more and more tired because she is weaving all of these materials. And he seems to be a little bit thankless and a little ungrateful, and he puts pressure on her to keep going and keep doing what she's doing, even though she's seemingly becoming a little bit more despondent and sad and, you know, a lot more fragile than what she used to be. And what ends up happening is she would lock herself away in her room at night and do all of this weaving. So one day he becomes very curious and he spies on her. And what he notices is that it's not a woman at all, but it's the crane that he rescued. And what the crane is doing is, because the crane is so grateful to the man for helping it when it was injured, the crane is plucking feathers out of her back and using the feathers to weave the garment. So the silk, that beautiful material, is actually made out of her feathers. When the crane notices that the man has been spying on her, she becomes startled and flies away forever, and he never sees her again. And I think that this is an incredibly beautiful card, an incredibly beautiful story, and I think that it represents you very well, pile 3. Because what I think has been going on in your life is that you have been giving so much of yourself at the needs of others for the reasons that other people are, I guess, for putting on you, and you have been giving yourself tirelessly, and you've been getting weak, you've been getting weary, and you haven't been really taking care of yourself and your own needs and your own goals and objectives. And I'm getting a sense that you have perhaps been in a thankless relationship. You have been in a very thankless work environment, or surrounded by people to whom you give and give and give, but they really don't give you much in return. And in the next 6 months, what I'm seeing for you, pile 3, is that that is going to change. You have the 7 of Cups, and in this particular deck, I really do think it represents a magical wish fulfillment, options, choices, manifestation, bringing the fantastical into reality. So I feel like over the next 6 months, you're going to really start to embrace and receive a lot of abundance, a lot of success, a lot of joy and happiness. You're going to start manifesting the things that you have wanted to manifest, and they're going to start coming into your life. And I see quite a lot of joy and happiness and celebration for you, specifically with this World card. Now, the World card represents completion, joy, but specifically in this deck, it represents the end of a very difficult cycle, the celebration at the end of a very difficult cycle, of a battle, of challenges, of something that is so hard to get through, but you've done it. And I feel like after that 3 of Swords card, what you're going to start experiencing is a lot more levity and a lot more joy and happiness. And with this card and some of the Oracle cards I've pulled for you, I do think that you may be you're going to be experiencing a new romantic relationship, some of you, but more, and if it's not romantic, and if it is your career that has been causing you pain, struggle, and difficulty, you're going to start experiencing more joy, and you're going to find a career that really values you, takes care of you, and doesn't care when you are too burdened and defeated and you can't keep going and you need to take a break. It's not going to keep pushing you so that you can fulfill, you know, your employer's needs, your boss's needs, the needs of your coworkers. You're going to start to feel a lot more respect, a lot more mindfulness as to your limits, especially with this 9 of Wands card, which really just reiterates what I've been saying. The 9 of Wands comes at the end of a very long battle, at the end of a lot of strife and difficulty. You can see that the person in the card is bandaged up because they have been through a lot, but it also represents strength, resilience, and setting boundaries. So if there are people who take and take and take from you, but give you nothing in return, you're going to start setting boundaries, and you're going to be successful in setting boundaries for yourself. You also have the 6 of Wands, which is the card of victory. So I do see a lot of upward movement and a lot of victory in your life. So if you have been, again, in a difficult job, in a loveless romantic connection, you're going to start experiencing more joy and more success. And you have the King of Pentacles at the center here. And what I think that for some of you, especially paired with the story of the crane wife, where the husband was just demanding for her to be the provider, demanding for her to put in all the efforts to bring him out of poverty, out of his struggles, very selfishly. The King of Pentacles is already fulfilled. He's already complete. He's a strong leader. He's financially stable. He's dependable. He's a rock. So if some of you have been in a relationship where you have been giving and giving and giving and getting nothing in return, the King of Pentacles can represent a person coming your way who is going to represent the qualities where that will reverse, and they're going to take care of you. They're not going to need you to provide. They're not going to need you to break your back so that they can get ahead in life. They're not going to need any of that because they're already whole and they are already complete. And now it's going to be a lot more balanced, a lot more uniform, and there won't be many more demands on you. But as well, the other thing is that this is a work related situation, that can mean a boss who again embodies those qualities, an environment that embodies those qualities, where everything is already fine and running smoothly and you're just needed to be there to keep it going, but you're not meant to sustain it completely. There will be less pressure put on you for those reasons because everything is already set in place. And there is no need for you to have to work long hours, to walk away from your family and friends, to dedicate yourself fully, because you're going to have a little bit more freedom and a lot more security in that regard. But like I have already said, I have the Soulmates card here. And with that World card, I do get the sense that some of you are going to be meeting your soulmate. So if you have left a romantic connection, and there's actually Oracle cards to suggest that some of you have or will. If you have left an unsatisfying romantic connection, you're moving towards your soulmate in the next 6 months. You're moving towards something that is going to be a soul fit, something that's going to really suit you. And again, that can apply to friendships, that can apply to your career as well. Something that is a perfect fit. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but for some of you, it very, very much is. It could be a person. The other cards I have for you, which makes me think that there are some romantic elements to this reading, is I have the Phoenix, which says, how is that for happily ever after? And what I see for you is very much that. I feel like you're moving towards your happy ending. You're moving towards your fairy tale, whether that is embracing yourself and making sure that you put yourself first, you put yourself forward as a priority, and you're not taking pieces of yourself and giving it away to somebody who is not returning that, who is just taking and taking and taking greedily. Or as well, it can represent, again, that soulmate romantic connection coming your way. But either way, this is a beautiful card and a beautiful sign for you, because I feel like you're going to find a lot of fulfillment, whether it's within yourself or with another person. And like I said, if it is a person, I do think that it's going to be represented by that King of Pentacles energy, somebody who is stable, emotionally stable, stable in their life. Doesn't mean that they're going to be a millionaire financially, but just somebody who really works hard for their own needs and doesn't require other people to fulfill them. Somebody who is very much in their own skin. And the other thing that I think is that you're going to, again, have to be you're going to be called to take care of yourself. You have Sundress do it for you, and she's it's actually kind of beautiful because I didn't even notice, because I thought it's going to get a little cold for sundresses very soon, especially as we dive into fall and winter. But I noticed that it's actually in the winter landscape, so I think that's kind of cool. And what I really think this card stands for is just doing it for yourself, taking care of yourself, embracing yourself, wearing beautiful clothes, doing your hair, and kind of taking care of yourself and preserving the parts of yourself that are sometimes so quickly abandoned when we start to focus on things like career or sustaining a relationship, or things that are difficult. Things that don't come easily are often the things that make us abandon the parts of ourselves that are so important, the parts of ourselves that keep us healthy, happy, rested. That is what you're also going to be called to explore, and that is what you're going to see in the next 6 months. And as well, you're going to have a period of a lot of contemplation. Now, I think that's pretty straightforward. Sorry, just bumped my camera. I think that's pretty straightforward, especially if you have gone through a considerable period where things were difficult and challenging and unfulfilling, and you've been working yourself to the bone in your work life, in your romantic life, and it's been unfulfilling and unsuccessful, you are going to have a period of contemplation, of really deep meditative thinking, of really focusing and turning yourself inward and trying to take care of yourself, especially after a long period of working for other people, of doing things at the behest of others. You're going to really start to heal and nurture your body. You're going to start to heal and nurture your own needs, because I really think that for you, pile 3, with that very bold and striking 3 of Swords card, you just simply have not been doing that. So that is what I have for you, pile 3. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope to see you again very soon. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like this reading, and have a wonderful day. Hello and welcome to your reading, pile 4. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'm going to dive right into it. So first and foremost, we have this very beautiful 10 of Wands card. And I do think that if you find that this reading resonates, that you should check out pile 3, because I do think that there are a lot of themes that cross over into this reading as well. So you might find that pile 3 also resonates with you. So do check it out. So to start with this 10 of Wands card, I get the strong feeling that you have been weighed down lately. You've been very much burdened and carrying a lot of weight on your back. And especially with this card, you can see that the skull is cracked open and there's all of this beautiful foliage growing out of it. And really what it makes me think of is the fact that you've been working yourself to the bone so that others around you can thrive and prosper. So perhaps in your career, in your romantic life, you've been really putting in a lot of effort and taking on a lot of weight that's not really yours. And as a result, you have really brought yourself to almost this crumbling, withering state where while everything is thriving because of you, you're nothing but bones, like this skull in this image. So I do think that that's what has been going on lately. And I feel like you have probably also been quite unsupported and dealing with a lot of pain. But in the next 6 months, I'm seeing with the 3 of Cups, which represents community and coming together. It's a beautiful friendship cup card. I'm sensing that you are going to have a lot of people who are going to come forward to take care of you and help alleviate some of those burdens and some of those difficulties that you have been facing. There are going to be moments of celebration, of laughter, of joy, of coming together, of sharing special and unique moments. And I do think that if for a while you felt unsupported or that you couldn't really connect to the people you love most, that you've been separated from them, that you're going to start coming back and they're going to start re-entering your life. And once again, there's going to be celebration and happiness over the next 6 months. It's going to make you feel a little bit better, especially with this Magician card. And it's a very interesting choice for the Magician card, because you have the fairy godmother and some pumpkins, going with the theme of pumpkins. So really what I'm seeing here is that, again, this specific card, the Magician is a powerful manifester. He creates, I'm saying he because I'm thinking of the traditional Rider-Waite, but she creates the world around her. She creates her reality. But in this particular card, it's almost like a godmother figure, somebody who's going to come in, step in to help. And again, I'm sensing that this is going to come from the people around you. Perhaps this is going to come from a family member or your mother or grandmother, but somebody's going to step in to help really transform your life or make it a little bit easier. And that doesn't have to be a person. This can also, again, just be the traditional magician, wherein you are the magician and you're going to transform your reality and you are going to make things happen. And that is the other thing that I'm seeing for you, pile 4, is that you're going to start creating your reality for yourself. You're going to start uplifting yourself instead of taking on the burdens of others, where it may be, like I said, perhaps unfulfilling, thankless, and you're working yourself to the bone. Now, the other thing, pile 4, and this could be a very specific message, and I think it really goes towards the Oracle cards that I'm going to show you in a little bit. But with that Five of Cups card, I think that some of you have suffered a loss recently. This could be a passing of a loved one, but this can also be a heartbreak, something that you had to walk away from. And you're very much focusing on this heartbreak, on this pain, on this grief. And unfortunately, you may be stuck in that for a little bit while longer, but you are going to start healing over the next 6 months. You're going to start mending that pain and recovering from that pain in a healthy, mature way. You're going to move away from that suffering towards happiness, because the next thing here is the Four of Wands. Again, celebration, especially when you have the Three of Cups. This is all about joy, celebration. It could represent a wedding, but really it just represents a happy moment in your life, a landmark moment where things are complete and joyous, and you come together with your loved ones and you have a wonderful moment of festivity and joy. And again, if you are dealing with grief, if you are suffering from a loss of a loved one, heartbreak, you're going to feel a little bit of relief. You're going to have people around you who are going to bring you up and help you heal from the pain that you've been going through. It doesn't have to be a loss that is tangible or makes sense. Perhaps you've also been suffering with mental health issues. You've been having a very difficult time, and soon that's going to start alleviating for you. It's going to feel a little bit less burdensome and challenging, especially with this Page of Wands energy, which represents beginnings, curiosity, exploration, and just fun. You're going to be filled with brand new enthusiasm, with new opportunities, with new things to discover and enjoy. So there is quite a lot of momentum towards joy and happiness in your life, where I think that there has been quite a lot of grief, there's been quite a lot of pain, and things that have really slowed you down and burdened you and made things difficult. And again, I do recommend that you check out pile 3, because I do think there's quite a lot of carryover, especially with what I'm about to say next. Now, I didn't even notice this when I was looking at this Oracle card when I had originally pulled it, but this card says, let them go. And I find it super interesting that this is a tree with the Ten of Wands, this burden card, and in this card, the tree is burning. So I think for some of you, if you have been in really bad romantic connection where you've been working tirelessly, but the other person has not put in the work, then you are going to be letting them go in the next 6 months. You're going to be moving away from them, because I see the tree here and I see the tree on fire. And I feel, again, this is representative of all of your efforts, all of the burdens, all of the energy that you have expended for someone or something, and you're being called to let them go. And what I'm sensing is that for some of you, if this is a romantic connection, you're going to find the strength to let them go, to let things move, to let that tree burn down, because you know there's nothing you can do to save it, even though you have been there to help and make it grow. So this is a very specific message for someone. This might not apply. This could also represent just something else you have to let go. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be something that you have been really working on tirelessly, putting your energy into, that's just sucking the life out of you. It is not fulfilling you. It's not bringing you joy. It's not bringing you wholeness and happiness. And over the next 6 months, you're going to find the strength to let them go, or let that thing go, what that is no longer creating joy within you, that is no longer making you happy. But I have something else to say, and that is that you're not going to be alone, because I'm sensing that for some of you, whoever or whatever you're walking away from, there is somebody else coming. And if this is a friend, if this is someone that you had a romantic connection with, there's somebody else that's going to be coming into your life in the next 6 months with this gorgeous card that says, take a chance on them. And I love that this card is 2 girls, and they're holding an umbrella, and they're taking care of one another, and they're sheltering one another. And again, with that magician, that fairy godmother, that person that's going to enter and help make you feel a little bit more, a little less heavy, a little less burdened. I do get a sense that there is somebody coming into your life, and at first, in the next 6 months, you're going to be hesitant. You're going to be very cautious. You're not going to want to start anything. You're not going to want to start over. But in the next 6 months, you are going to find that courage, that strength to start over and take a chance on this person or on this opportunity. Because I do get the sense that if this is a romantic reading, there's someone wonderful coming into your life, someone almost magical. You have these, it's so funny, the fairy godmother. I didn't even notice there's fairies floating around. So like, oh my God, that's so cute. So I do think that if there is somebody you're walking away from and you're a little bit, like I said, you do have the 5 of Cups here, you're going to be going through a bit of grief, a period of change and transformation as you move away from them. But there is somebody that's going to come into your life and you are going to be asked to take a chance on them. And I think that likely you will recognize them by the way that they take care of you, by the way that they shelter you from the rain. They shelter you from your pain, from your grief and your sadness. And this is going to be a very important relationship because you are being asked to take a chance on them. Especially with this 4 of Wands card that connotes that celebration, that happiness, that joy. There is someone coming into your life that you're going to very much be called to, and you'll know who they are when you meet them, because it's going to be very different than what you've experienced with this 10 of Wands, that heavy energy where you're working yourself to the bone, but there's no reciprocation and you're a little bit defeated and challenged. And again, you have the Contentment card, and I think it speaks beautifully to that magician manifesting energy, to the 4 of Wands, to the Page of Swords, that excitement, curiosity, that new beginning, that revitalization of the things that you thought were impossible for you, improbable, not going to happen. I'm not going to meet someone who's going to make me feel the way that, you know, we sometimes create realities that aren't there. Sometimes we're with people who aren't really good for us, but we think they're the best thing ever. And it takes stepping away and maybe introducing yourself to new ways of thinking, or meeting somebody else that really makes you realize that, oh no, this was not a happy place. I wasn't happy. I was very miserable. I wasn't feeling great. I was sad. But what you have on the way in the next 6 months is contentment. You are going to be happy, you're going to be fulfilled, and you're going to have a lot of joy in your life, pile 4. And lastly, I want to remind you with this building blocks card is that if, again, whatever it is that you're putting your efforts into with that 10 of Wands card, whatever it is that's making you feel a little bit burdened, a little bit weighed down, be reminded that if you continue putting in your effort, make sure that you're putting it into the right place. And in the next 6 months, you're definitely going to refocus your energy in a healthy way and focus on the things that are going to bring you up, that are going to help you manifest with that Magician card, that are going to be important to you. So really be careful to reevaluate in the next 6 months where you're putting your energy in, where are you putting your efforts? Is it worthwhile? Are you getting something in return? Are your efforts being rewarded, or is it almost like throwing your energy into a void where nothing is going to be sent back to you, that nothing, you know, you're not going to be appreciated, you're not going to feel loved, you're not going to feel like your efforts mean something. You're definitely going to be forced to ask yourself that question. But again, over the next 6 months, you are going to find the thing that you will find value putting your energy into. You are going to find that place, that space, or that person, or all of the above, and you're going to start working towards your future, which is going to be much, much more fulfilling and much less draining, is what I'm hearing. So that is what I have for you, pile 4. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this reading. Let me know if this reading resonated, and I do hope to see you again soon.